955,176 tests since the pandemic started. They have confirmed a total of around 270,899 cumulative cases since the pandemic started. And they have a positivity rate of 29.7%. That means out of 100 tests they conduct, around 29 people are found with COVID-19. And they have administered a total of around 9,169,969 doses of vaccines, and around 3,722,540 people have received their second dose of vaccines. In Kenya, they have also not started giving the booster doses, as majority of the people are not yet vaccinated. Thank you very much for listening to today's COVID-19 update. I'll see you in the next video. I love you all. See you.
Thank you, Afafa. Excellent update as always. We'll be quiet. There we go. Now, the thing that got me there, that Afafa's on the ground. He's a medical officer on the ground there, and they're getting in Uganda 8.5% positivity. Now, even though they're not doing many tests, that positivity rate is high. That tells me there's a lot of community transmission at the moment in Uganda. Kenya, 29.7% positivity, even on a low number of tests. So again, it tells me there's a lot of community transmission in Kenya as well, potentially even more than in Uganda. So this is spreading throughout those countries, and we can assume that it's spreading quickly, but so far Wafafa is not seeing people getting sick, which is remarkably encouraging. But of course, it's still early days, and how this is going to pan out in a population which is very, very under-vaccinated compared to Western countries, and probably unexposed to previous forms of SARS coronavirus 2, as they have been in South Africa, is yet to be seen. It is a young demographic, of course, in Kenya and Uganda. That's going to be, we believe, even with Omicron, massively to their advantage. But my anxiety levels about Africa are not yet allayed, whereas my anxiety levels about Western highly vaccinated countries are much lower than they were. So on that point of optimism, let's leave it and have a good Christmas, and thank you very much for watching.
Новогодняя распродажа. Набор сковородок Нева всего за 990 рублей.
Нева? Ну ладно. Ну ладно. Старая шутка, стреляешь. Привет. Саймон, hello. Russian. Что такое? Понимаешь?
The vast majority of melodies are made up of some kind of scale.
Hello and welcome to
Practicing
Piano
scale
TV,
patterns will better prepare you for playing melodies. In addition to just playing scales in ascending and descending order, you want to practice different permutations of notes in the scale, or notes in the key, whatever you want to call it. These might be, say, diatonic intervals, like thirds. Or fourths. Or fifths, so on and so forth. These might be cells of notes, like 4 scale degrees in a row. What's that? Did I hear someone say they're going to practice that in all 12 keys? Very good. So as we add more and more to these diatonic cells, we start to end up with stuff that sounds more and more like Hanon. Hanon, in a sense, is just a collection of diatonic cells in C major with different permutations of the notes. But try creating your own exercises of the same nature. Diatonic seventh chords make great exercises. Also try them with directional changes. And if you're a jazz player, be sure to practice these in melodic minor as well. These are good for technique, and they'll also offer some material for soloing. The dilemma for new pianists is that exercises are maybe not the most fun to play, but actual music can present unexpected challenges. What about the in-between? For this, we turn to Carl Czerny. He has several etude books at varying difficulties that work great not only as warm-ups, but also for sight reading, phrasing, and general musicality. Opus 599, Practical Method for Beginners, initiates beginner pianists with simple melodies, gradually advancing to chords, faster rhythms, different keys, and different time signatures. This will acquaint the beginner pianist with technique concepts like scales, arpeggios, and finger independence. But these also serve a musical function. Through playing this, we can get familiar with the functionalities of the two hands, like right-hand melodies and left-hand accompaniment styles, such as waltz patterns, Alberti bass, etc. Opus 802, or Practical Finger Exercises, features a whole plethora of five-finger exercises, all within one hand position, no crossovers whatsoever. This purely serves to evenly temper the fingers, bringing the number 4 finger up to speed with the rest, and working finger coordination by playing the different fingers in different permutations. Each unit starts with one hand repeating after the other and gradually moving into hands together for a further challenge. The book starts with half measures of 16th notes, moving into full measures, and then 2 measure long exercises.
Я обтиранжу карбонара. Сегодня мы готовим не карбонара. Главное, не переводить пасту. Чесночок. Я обожаю амальгамары и сервирую. Томаты, чили, горгонзола, оливковое масло, базилик. Это вуаля, не дает ковиду, лишит вас любимый вкус. Выбор за вами, оценируйте.
Маме интересно многое. А Игорю интересно подарить то, что понравится маме. Но как понять, что именно? Подарите Яндекс.Модуль, ставьте его в телевизор и подключите к Wi-Fi.
Алиса, что мне посмотреть про птиц?
И он хоть фильмы про орнитологию найдет, хоть мультики включит.
Алиса, включи мультики.
Яндекс.Модуль. Всем интересный подарок.
students that work on finger coordination, finger independence, repeated notes. Octaves. And so many other things. An awesome resource to have. Opus 261, or 125 exercises, feature these short musical excerpts that help to identify specific challenges and weaknesses in your playing. They take a lot of the concepts from Opus 802 and apply them in a musical context. Like Opus 599, they acquaint you with a lot of the different functionalities and styles of the two hands. This would be a great way to initiate a student who's looking to get into classical music. And these excerpts are short, so they'd also be great for warm-up. Opus 299, The School of Velocity, takes arpeggios and scales and puts them in a musical context and forces you to run them in a very specific way. The student is meant to work these up to blistering tempos and to ensure that they've really mastered these techniques. What I like about these etudes is that unlike scales and other things that seem to kind of be in the ether, these are specific notes on the page and you have to play them as written. Is that unlike scales and other things that seem to kind of be in the ether, these are specific notes on the page and you have to play them as written. And I feel like this demands a certain level of discipline. Once your technique really starts to come together, you'll definitely want to look at some Bach two-part inventions. These pieces work at a lot of the same things we've talked about before, but by far the biggest hurdle to overcome here is that of hand independence. Watch how in all of these, the right hand states an idea, and then the left hand answers it while the right hand moves on. Then later on, the left hand will state an idea, and the right hand will follow it. About these pieces is that unlike typical piano music where the right hand has the melody and the left hand supports it, with two-part inventions both hands are equals. They take turns carrying the melodic weight and they'll ensure that you have a strong left hand. And we all know how important a strong left hand is.
So there's a lot of different things you can do to build technique. I look at all of these as ingredients in one big tasty technique stew. You don't want too much salt or too much pepper or too much cayenne. It's up to your own taste and your own self-appraisal to decide what you need more or less of. Now, there is one final ingredient here we haven't mentioned yet, which is just playing music. All of these technical etudes and exercises are great, but they don't mean jack if you can't apply them to an actual musical context. Identifying challenges and personal weaknesses in whatever music you're playing and turning those weaknesses into your strengths is how you'll get to where you want to be. So, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos, and as always, happy practicing.
Исполняйте мечты близких вместе с Samsung Galaxy и получайте подарки. При покупке смартфона Galaxy Z Flip 3 дарим умные Galaxy Watch 4. Еще больше подарков от Samsung по ссылке. Новогодняя коллекция роскошных ароматов от Kilian Paris. Получите эксклюзивный подарок по промокоду Kilian на сайте bykilian.ru при покупке от 18 тысяч рублей.
Hanon is a highly polarizing work. For some people, it's a reviled prescription of how piano ought to be crafted.